Oh, just chilling.
Welcome to DisabiliTEA, a special edition of the Finding Avalon podcast. I'm Jenna, a disabled advocate and creator from Atlanta, Canada. On this show, I invite other disabled advocates and community allies to spill the tea with me on all things disability. I have Keonté Beals joining me today. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate you
Um,
having me.
so glad to have you with me. Keonté is a multi-award winning singer, author, entrepreneur, and self love advocate from North Preston, Nova Scotia. And I hear you're on a mission to empower through storytelling, music, and sharing lived experiences. And part of how you do this is through writing and illustrating inclusive children's books that celebrate diversity and representation. Like 400,000 other Canadians, you live with OCD and you've been passionate about promoting mental health support starting from childhood up. This authentic perspective that you bring as an author, no doubt, helps kids feel seen and that they belong. And I appreciate that your books include disabled characters who live with different forms of disability. It is so important, Keonté, as you know, to normalize and educate about this because the reality is that 1 in 4 Canadians live with some form of disability. Are you ready to spill some disability?
Let's do it.
All right. First question. What have you brought for tea today?
Okay, so I brought something that is really, really special to me. I use it all the time, like religiously when I'm on touring. And it is in this mug here, which is something that is really special to me because it helps me get through the day every single day. It's actually one of my favorite colors too, black. So woo, to that. Inside of here is a medicine ball from Starbucks. And I wrote it down here because I always forget what's in it, but it's pretty much like peach tranquility, steamed lemonade, honey, and stuff like that. But it's really, really good for you. And it just, for me, kind of helps me to rejuvenate after a long day of touring. And it helps for my vocal cords too.
It sounds delicious also.
It's really good.
Well, thank you for that show and tell, and I'm going to do one as well. I'm drinking from my locally made cup from Slightly Irregular Ceramics, and it's made by Chelsea Legg, who's here in Nova Scotia, and I found them at the Halifax Crafters Christmas show last year. I ran up, I saw this handle, and I have small hands and I find handles difficult. This is the perfect handle. So I ran up very enthusiastically and was like, give me this mug. And so it's made of earthenware and it has this really nice glaze that reminds me of wildflowers and wild irises.
Mm,
And it was a gift to myself last Christmas.
yeah, congratulations. I think it's beautiful. And it's
Yeah.
local.
Yeah, and it's nice to support local makers and local artisans, right?
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
You can't really see without me literally spilling the the disability, but kind of can see. I'm drinking Sleepy Mama tea by Dougal Teas, and it's a small family business. They're always at the brewery market. I love buying their teas. And this one is a botanical tea that has functional mushrooms inside. So it has lion's mane and reishi, I think is how you say it. So it's supposed to balance you, make you feel calm, and help support your brain function. And that's super important for me. Yeah, so that's what I'm sipping on
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds really good. I've been hearing a lot about lion's mane lately.
Mm.
And there's a lady that I met recently, and she was talking about lion's mane a little bit and just like some of the benefits of it. And I'm like, oh, it's really good, like just to hear that from people who really like just kind of pour into some of those like more natural products and stuff and how
Mhm.
they help to heal our body. ways.
Yeah. It was really interesting because I was like, mushroom tea. I don't really eat that many mushrooms. And I was like, is it magical mushrooms? Like, what am I getting into before I take a swig of this? Can someone tell me what I'm getting into?
Right,
And they,
right.
and they explained to me, they laughed and they said, we get that question a lot. And they explained just the natural properties of it. And I thought, you know
Yeah.
what, I'm gonna try that because it helps if you have insomnia as well, and I do. So anyway, that's nice to give a shout out to some local makers.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna put down my tea before I truly spill it everywhere.
That's why I got mine off to the side here because I would be the one to do it all over
You
this lap.
are you a hand talker? Because I'm constantly knocking things over with
Very
my
much
hand.
so. Yeah. Yep. You might can't see it down here.
Yeah,
My hands moving. They're moving. I'm trying to keep them from.
yeah. Some people don't move their hands at all, and some people really are expressive hand talkers, right? And I am also clumsy, so I often will say something, and I'll make a big, and I'll knock something off, I'll break something. I'm like, oh, I need to sit on my hands. But
And nothing ruins the moment more when you're actually doing that and you're talking to someone, like even in a meeting or whatever the
yeah,
case may be, and then all of a sudden you're making this great point. All of a sudden, bang, the whole thing is gone. It just takes the whole moment away. It's like, oh, literally, just takes all the focus. It's like, well, damn. And then you lose your train of thought and stuff. And I'm not someone who typically feels awkward ever, but those moments like that is just like, all right, damn, you
you
know?
know what happens? It's like Control Alt Delete in the whole moment. It's like, oh.
Quite literally, yep.
Sometimes real change starts with a conversation over a hot drink, just like this today. Keontae, what disability related topic would you like to spill the tea about?
Yeah, so I am so excited to be here. First of all, again, thank you for having me here. I actually wanted to talk about some of my books. All of them are inclusive. Make sure that there's a good little picture of it. But there are kids inside of all of my books who have visible and invisible disabilities. Like this character here, his name is Felix, and he is visually impaired. And so there are some of my other books too, where some of the kids and the characters in them have visible disabilities. Like there's a young, beautiful girl. Her name is Amina. She's one of the characters. She's in I Am a Queen, and she is in a wheelchair. But she had some things just happen in her life that has led her there. But for me, I just wanted to talk about like the importance of normalizing some of the disabilities that we see, and also the invisible disabilities too, like that they are living with us, with some of us on a daily basis. I myself can sometimes have a hard time with OCD and how that affects me, and I feel like when we have conversations, especially when there are conversations that people might deem as being uncomfortable, that is how we grow, right? And awareness to things is the biggest part of being able to normalize anything. And so for me, when I started to build my children's books, and I'll show you even some of the pages in them. But when I
Yeah.
started to build my children's books, I wanted to make sure that they were inclusive and that everybody felt seen. And I actually illustrate these books myself. So all the characters are characters that I used to kind of draw when I was about 6 years old. These characters have traveled in my mind right up until these books, 2020, 2018. And so it's really important for me. We have like some books in Braille as well,
Okay.
because make sure that everybody is able to get like the language and the communication that they deserve in some of the books and stuff. And so in all of the books. And so yeah, for me, that's what I wanted to talk about, was just pretty much like normalizing it. And I think that the kids are our foundation. So if we start there, then the generations coming after them, it would just be normal. It would be a part of society for people to recognize and to appreciate people and to respect people for the different places and spaces that we're in. It's the most important thing to me, just as a person and to all of us. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about, was just normalizing it through conversations in children, um, and just kind of starting from there. Also, too, I do a lot of work with Make-A-Wish, particularly here in Canada, where we donate some proceeds from the book sales to the organization. And for those who don't know about Make-A-Wish, they support the dreams and the wish of children who have critical illnesses. And so a lot of the work that I do with the children's books go towards funding some of those dreams and those wishes and those goals. And we do a lot of work together throughout the year. And oh my goodness, there's a very special young lady. She made me this crown. She was inspired by my children's books, I Am a Queen and I Am a King. And she wanted to make me this really, really beautiful crown. I wish I had it, but it's back home. But she made me this really beautiful crown. And she just talked about how all of us are a part of royalty and that it doesn't matter about some of the things that she's been through with her illness. She feels like a queen and that she is a queen and that she felt that way because of the children's books that she read. And so that's what it's all about. Like for me, it's just about empowering everybody, but starting with the kids especially to know like that even in some of the issues that we all face when it comes to having, visible and invisible disabilities, we still can give ourselves that love that allows us to thrive, And so yeah, I really just appreciate you giving me this opportunity to talk about some of my work and just some of the stuff that we're doing in community to help build the community and to create legacy work.
Absolutely. And as you said earlier, children growing up with these conversations normalized will eventually mean that there won't be stigma and stereotype that won't be harming them or making them think there's something wrong with me, I'm different, and all of the other negative messages, right? Because it's tough enough growing up. But if you're growing up with an illness or a disability, anything like that, then of course it's much more challenging. So I love that your books are making children feel seen. And I think maybe you can talk a bit about this, but I think that even the adults who are reading the books to these children might be taking something important away from the messages.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many times where the adults come up to me and they say, while reading the book to their kids, they started to feel empowered too. And there's even some adults who came to the market and they're like, I don't have any kids, I don't have any nieces and nephews, any grandchildren or anything. And they're like, I want to buy the book for myself. Like I want to feel good too. And sometimes even when I'm touring too, the teachers will feel this way, but they're just like, I feel like just reading some of the words are powerful. They make me feel included and seen and heard. And that's something that, they may not have gotten as a child. We all live with that inner child too. And so the things we didn't get, sometimes we can carry them. And so that's why, like, also the children, like, I appreciate being able to touch the adults and anybody who listens to my work. But that's why I specifically focus for the most part on like the children, is because we're doing like the work to stop some of those generational things, some of the stigma, some of the negativity around people who might be living with disabilities or from different races, different backgrounds, different circumstances. It's all about community and bringing people together.
Hmm.
And in supporting some of my books too, you have the opportunity to support Make a Wish and making a wish kid's dream come true. It's really special in that way.
Absolutely. So, Keontae, we need more storytellers like you. We really do. And conversations like this and storybooks like yours really will help people understand that disability is very common and it's very human. It's a human experience. And that is the core message that I often try to drive home when I do my speaking and podcast and any of the advocacy work I do. And so your books, when they touch on non-visible disabilities or non-apparent disabilities, that's incredibly important too. So again, thank you. And the earlier that children can learn about this, along with your messages of self-love and self-acceptance and building self-confidence, I think that the more that they learn about it, and the earlier, the better.
Yes, absolutely. The earlier, the better. Yeah.
Mhm. And you kind of touched on it earlier, but I think that you're giving younger generations a gift that many of us didn't have, and that's the gift of awareness and empowerment that you've been able to capture and then spread for the good of your readers and the children who are hearing the stories or reading themselves.
I listen, when you can figure out that power doesn't isn't associated with an age too, that is where real change starts to happen. I mean, I was really young when I kind of had a lot of epiphanies about just how I can own my own power. And it didn't sound like that. The wording wasn't that. But what I realized now is I was building that solid foundation. Um, to own my own power and what that looked like. Like you're not your circumstances, you're not what people make you out to be. All right. You're not some of these things that you might have to deal with on a daily basis. And you can own that power for yourself. Right.
Mhm.
And it's just daily steps and being consistent, but also applying grace too, because you won't always feel that, that way. And that's where like routine comes in where you do like daily things to help you feel empowered. And you can find that within yourself. Like you don't need anybody to tell you that. It is really a beautiful gift when people do, but you can find that in yourself too. If you have nobody around, you can still create what success and what love and what community looks like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we forget that we are the narrators of our own stories because
Yes.
there are so many things that are beyond our control. There are so many circumstances and systems and barriers like ableism that make life more difficult, but they are not the authors. They are
That's right.
not the narrators. Their voices might be loud, but our own voices, starting from childhood, are incredibly important.
Yes, that's right. Yep. Own your power. Learn to do it.
Yeah. See?
Yes.
Yep. That's the message you're giving people and little kids who are going to grow up all the better for it. Like, that's quite a
Yes.
gift. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
It must feel good. It must feel good to know that that's what you're able to contribute, you know?
Yeah, it's healing for me too. Like
Yeah.
it's really healing for like myself. Like I didn't, I made a lot of mistakes along the way. We all have. But I didn't have like some of those answers that I put inside of the book now. Like it was a lot of trial and error, figuring out, and they'll still go through that process. Everyone does. But my thing is if you can share when you can share knowledge, then you just put the generation that's coming up after you like steps ahead, you know?
Mhm.
And that means there are more opportunities, more room for things to change, and to grow and to expand and for people to be uncomfortable, to know what that feels like and be able to live with it. So, because it's the only way for us to grow. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it does feel good. It makes me feel good that I am contributing in this way. It's something that I've done since I was a kid, and it's only grown. The love to just be able to do this kind of work that I feel is like my life's work. It just continues to grow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you mentioned a couple of times in this cup of tea, this little chat we're having, you have mentioned about it's so important to push through the discomfort of what we've been taught are difficult conversations. A lot of that is based in ableism, and a lot of it is unintentional. People think, oh, I shouldn't ask. I don't want to offend. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I upset somebody? People are worried, like, maybe I don't wanna hear the answer. Maybe I will feel bad when I hear the answer. But pushing ourselves through discomfort so that we can connect with each other's humanity, that's a powerful place, and that's a place where, like you say, knowledge can then just grow.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Compassion is a skill.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is a skill. And you got to practice it every single day because you don't know what people are going through, when they're not there, when they're not on. And and there are a lot of us who have invisible disabilities, and it's just so important for people to be kind to one another because you just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You really don't know what's happening. And social media, as we know, is a highlight reel. It's great to share exciting things, fun things, happy things, things that we're also taught that, oh, only put your best face forward. And
Yeah.
things are starting to shift now where people are saying, I'd rather be more authentic and show that this was a bad day. This is a reality. Here's a barrier I deal with. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean that the whole world is bad or my whole life is bad. This is a struggle I have. Here's how I overcome it with my community, with the people I love, within myself. It's nice to see more authenticity, and I find that when there's media, including books like the ones that you write, when there's media out there, podcasts and social media channels and books, children and adults can learn a lot of beautiful things about authenticity. And that all links back to what you do, talking about self love, acceptance, and celebrating the diversity that is within our entire community.
Yes. 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 Yep. Absolutely.
People will get an impression of who Keontae is, right? They'll be like, he's out here, he's doing all this, he's so well spoken, he's so organized, he's hustling and getting everything done, sharing these ideas, creating a great business and making changes with partnerships in the community. They don't see that if you have OCD, you will struggle with that. And that's a natural human response to neurodivergence, right?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
When they get
Yeah.
this idea of they think that, you're one thing. But we're like a book. Open that book.
Oh my gosh. I can't even begin, to mention the layers, the layers, like to each person. It's like you could never fully get the whole story. And that's the beautiful part, right? And we're also discovering that about ourselves if you're doing the work on a
Yeah.
daily basis, like uncovering things. There's things that I just figured out even like within the last couple of days, and we're not gonna go into that, but that I was just like, "Oh my God." I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
We're still getting to know ourselves as adults, right?
yeah.
And now in 2025, almost 2026, it'll be
I know.
2026 when this airs.
I know.
But like, now we're able to be more open, and there are more learning resources. There are more people like us
Yes.
who are saying, "You know what? Let's have this conversation, and let's see where it goes." And even if we say or do something because we don't know something, and we can always make repairs and say, "I need to unlearn that. Thank you for changing my mind on that. Thanks for sharing that perspective that I never thought about." It gives you more empathy, it gives you more knowledge, right? Eventually, when you do the work, when you're open to it, when you have the guts to
Yeah,
actually face certain things, then you go, I wonder, is that why
yeah,
XYZ?
yep,
And
yeah,
that's growth, right?
that's right. That's right. Asking
Yeah.
those questions. Asking
Yeah.
those questions, and then if you don't have the answer right there, finding it always comes. I find when you ask the question, the answer always comes.
Mhm.
Yeah, the way there. And each with each layer, you just learn something new. Oh my goodness, like you just learn something new, and it helps you to put one together and produce two. And you can figure it out and grow from it and
Yeah.
then share, and
Yeah.
then share so that somebody else doesn't feel alone if you want to, of course, but doesn't feel alone in it and they have the opportunity to then not beat themselves up. Can be like, no, this is me. I understand it. I can understand this now. Oh my God. Yeah. I could go on and on and on about that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's every why I do all of this
Yeah.
stuff because I
Well,
known had I known. Yeah.
yeah. Well, 9-year-old Keontae, for example.
Yes.
And like
Yes.
9-year-old Jenna, we didn't have mentors or people to look up to who talked about disability or even knew about it. And if I was 10 or 12 or 18 years old or 25 years old and had
Yeah.
someone like look up to as a mentor, as a disabled mentor, what a difference it would have made. And so now I mentor. I'll be what I didn't have, and I think anyone who's an advocate tries to do that, like, that's what you're trying to do, that's what you are actually doing.
That's right. Yep. Everything that I didn't have, I've become. Everything that I wish I would have
Yeah.
had, I've become that. That's how it goes.
So here's to spilling the disability.